October 4th, 1957, a small metal ball the size of a watermelon was launched into space by the Soviet Union. It did nothing except beep. But that beep sent the most powerful nation on Earth into a state of complete panic. This is the story of the most dangerous race in human history. Not a race for gold, not a race for land, a race for the stars where losing meant losing everything. After World War II, two superpowers remained standing: the United States and the Soviet Union. Both had nuclear weapons. Both had missiles. And both knew that whoever controlled space controlled the world. On October 4th, 1957, the USSR launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite in human history. It orbited Earth every 96 minutes, broadcasting a simple radio signal to anyone listening below. Americans heard that signal and could not sleep, because Sputnik proved one terrifying thing. If the Soviets could put a satellite into orbit, they could put a nuclear warhead over any American city. The United States responded immediately. NASA was created in 1958. Billions of dollars were poured into rockets training and technology. The race had officially begun, but the Soviets were not done. In November 1957, less than a month after Sputnik, the USSR launched Sputnik 2 carrying a living passenger. A dog named Laika became the first living creature to orbit Earth. She never came back. The Soviets had no technology to return her safely, and Laika died within hours from overheating. A scientist who worked on the mission said years later, "The more time passes, the more sorry I am about it." On April 12, 1961, the Soviets struck again. Yuri Gagarin became the first human being in space. His flight lasted 108 minutes. He orbited Earth once and returned safely. The world celebrated. America panicked. President John F. Kennedy made a decision that would define a decade. Standing before Congress on May 25, 1961, he made a promise to the entire world. "We choose to go to the moon not because it is easy, but because it is hard." The finish line had been drawn. Whoever reached the moon first would win the Cold War in the eyes of the entire world. What followed was 12 years of the most extraordinary human achievement ever attempted. But behind the scenes, both programs were soaked in tragedy. In January 1967, 3 American astronauts, Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee, were killed when fire broke out inside their Apollo 1 capsule during a test on the launch pad. They never left the ground. 6 months later, Soviet cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov became the first person to die during a space mission. His Soyuz 1 spacecraft malfunctioned on re-entry and he fell to Earth at full speed. Knowing he could not survive, he reportedly spent his final moments shouting in rage at the engineers who had sent him up in a faulty spacecraft. Both sides were paying with lives. And then, July 16, 1969. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins launched from Kennedy Space Center aboard Apollo 11. 4 days later, on July 20, 1969, Armstrong descended the ladder of the lunar module onto the surface of the moon. He spoke 12 words that over 500 million people heard live on television. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. America had won. The Soviets never admitted they were trying to reach the moon at all. Their own moon rocket, the N-1, had exploded 4 times during testing, including a catastrophic launch pad explosion in July 1969, just 2 weeks before Apollo 11 landed, that destroyed the entire facility. They buried the failure in secrecy for 20 years. So what is the legacy of the space race? Every satellite orbiting Earth right now, GPS, weather, communication, internet, exists because 2 countries were trying to outdo each other in the 1950s and 60s. The technology born from that desperate competition powers the modern world, and the race that began with a beeping metal ball in 1957 ended with a human being standing on the surface of another world. Not bad for 12 years. If this story gave you chills, drop a like, it helps more than you know. And next week we cover the man who designed the rockets that won the space race and his dark secret that America chose to bury. Subscribe to Unboxed Minds because every great story has a side nobody told you.